Hi, I'm Sarah. Today I'm going to tell you my story. But before I continue, please share, and subscribe to hear more stories like this. It all started on a rainy Tuesday in April. My father had just passed away, and his funeral was small but meaningful. At least, that's what I thought. Sarah, we need to talk about the house, my older brother Marcus said, cornering me in the kitchen after most guests had left. What about it? Dad left it to both of us in the will, right? Marcus shifted uncomfortably. Not exactly. There's been a change. My sister-in-law, Vanessa, appeared beside him, her face a mask of fake sympathy. We know this is hard, but your father signed everything over to Marcus before he died. The house, the business, everything. What? That's impossible. He would have told me. He didn't want to upset you during his final days, Marcus said. You know how he was, always protecting you. Something felt wrong. I want to see the paperwork. Of course, Vanessa said sweetly. Our lawyer has everything. We'll set up a meeting. That meeting never happened. Within a week, I was served an eviction notice. The family business where I'd worked for 8 years suddenly had no position for me. My calls went unanswered. They can't do this, my best friend Elena said, helping me pack my belongings. It has to be illegal. The paperwork looks legitimate. Dad's signature is there. But you said he could barely hold a pen in his final weeks. I paused, a framed photo in my hands. Yeah, that's what doesn't make sense. What will you do now? Stay with my cousin Tessa until I figure things out. She's the only family still talking to me. Living with Tessa was a godsend, but money was tight. I found a job waiting tables, while Marcus and Vanessa moved into my childhood home and took over the construction company my father had built from nothing. You look exhausted, Tessa said one evening as I collapsed onto the couch. Double shift. Tips were good, though. Any word from Marcus? I shook my head. Not directly. But I heard from Elena that they're renovating the house. Apparently, they're throwing a huge housewarming party next month. Without inviting you? That's cold. That's family, I muttered. The next morning, I bumped into my father's old neighbor, Mrs. Jenkins, at the coffee shop. Sarah, I've been hoping to see you, she said, hugging me tightly. Mrs. Jenkins, it's good to see you. How are you holding up, dear? Such a terrible business with the will. You knew about that? She lowered her voice. Your father told me he was worried about Marcus pressuring him. He didn't trust them, especially after that incident with the medication. What incident? Oh, I assumed you knew. I stopped by one afternoon and found him confused. He said Vanessa had given him new pills that made him feel strange. I thought it was odd. 3 months after my father's death, I was serving tables when I noticed a well-dressed older man watching me. As my shift ended, he approached. Excuse me, are you Sarah Winters? Yes, why? I'm Lawrence Pierce, attorney at law. Could we speak somewhere private? At a quiet corner table, he asked, Did you know Richard Coleman? My father's business partner? Not really. He moved away years ago. Mr. Coleman passed away last month? I'm sorry to hear that. Don't be. He left you something. Lawrence slid an envelope across the table. This explains everything. Inside was a letter. Sarah, if you're reading this, both your father and I are gone. James always feared your brother's influence over him would win out. We prepared for that possibility. Contact Lawrence. He'll explain. Richard? Explain what exactly? I asked, confused. Lawrence leaned forward. Are you Sarah? You just inherited $33 million? I nearly fell out of my chair. That's impossible. Your father and Richard had a secret agreement. If anything happened to your father and you were disinherited, Richard's estate would go to you instead. He had no family of his own. But why? Richard knew your brother was pressuring your father to change his will. They had concerns about Marcus's character. That night, I couldn't sleep. The next day, Lawrence explained everything in detail. The money was real. My life was about to change completely. What will you do now? Tessa asked when I told her. Nothing yet. Lawrence advised me not to tell anyone about the money. Not even Marcus and Vanessa? Especially not them. I need to understand exactly what happened first. I kept waiting tables, but secretly met with Lawrence to investigate what had happened with my father's will. We hired a handwriting expert who confirmed my suspicions. The signature was forged. One evening, I ran into Thomas, my father's old assistant, at the grocery store. "Sarah, I've been trying to find you." "Thomas? What's wrong?" "I need to tell you something about your father's will. It's not right what they did to you." Over coffee, Thomas revealed everything. "Marcus pressured your father for months, but he refused to change the will. Then Vanessa started bringing him medication when he got sick. He wasn't himself after that." "They drugged him?" "I think so. And after he died, I saw them in the office with your father's papers. I think they forged the will." "Do you have proof?" "Not exactly. But I kept notes of everything. Dates, times, conversations. I knew something wasn't right." "Why didn't you come forward sooner?" I asked. "Marcus threatened to ruin me if I ever spoke up. I have kids in college, Sarah. I couldn't risk it. But your father was like family to me. I can't sleep at night knowing what they did." "Would you testify? If it came to that?" He nodded firmly. "Yes. It's time I found my backbone." Armed with this information, Lawrence and I developed a plan. We needed more evidence, and we needed Marcus and Vanessa to reveal themselves. "We'll need help," Lawrence said. "People Marcus trusts." "I know just the person," I replied. Elena had remained friends with Marcus and Vanessa, playing both sides while secretly supporting me. Now she would be my eyes and ears. "They brag about it when they're drunk," Elena reported back after their housewarming party. Vanessa laughed about how easy it was to forge the signature. "She's not even careful anymore. She told me they found your dad's medication too inconvenient and switched it with something that made him more agreeable." Did anyone else hear this? Their friend Michael did. He looked uncomfortable. Michael had been my father's friend too. I arranged to meet him for lunch. "I didn't know what to do, Sarah," he admitted. "I suspected something was wrong, but I had no proof. Would you be willing to testify about what you heard?" He hesitated. "I don't know. Marcus is dangerous when cornered." "What exactly did Vanessa say at the party?" I pressed. "I need the exact words if possible." Michael shifted uncomfortably. She said, "It was so easy. His hand was so shaky anyway, no one could tell the difference between his real signature and mine." Then she laughed about the medication making him agreeable enough to sign anything they put in front of him, except he never actually signed anything. Meanwhile, I made a bold move. I applied for a job at my father's, now Marcus's company, using a fake name and references Lawrence helped create. With a new hair color and style, my own brother didn't recognize me when he interviewed Emily Parker for an administrative position. "You're perfect for the role," Marcus said, completely fooled. "When can you start?" "Monday?" "Excellent. Vanessa handles the personnel files. She'll get you set up." Working under their noses was terrifying but effective. I gained access to financial records showing Marcus had been embezzling from the company for years, money my father never knew about. I also discovered drafts of my father's real will in old email archives, proving what the original had contained before it was altered. One day, Vanessa came in fuming after a phone call. "Something wrong?" I asked innocently. "Just some lawyer asking questions about James's will?" Persistent bastard. "Sounds annoying." "It's nothing. Marcus took care of the will situation perfectly. No one can prove anything." "He must be pretty clever," I commented, typing casually. "You have no idea," she said smugly. "Marcus always gets what he wants." As Emily, I gained Marcus and Vanessa's trust. They began inviting me to their home, my childhood home, for dinner parties. Each time was painful, watching them enjoy what should have been partly mine. During one such evening, Marcus had too much to drink. "You know, Emily, this house has a great story," he slurred. "Oh? Do tell." "My sister thought she'd inherit half of everything. Stupid girl never realized I was always Dad's favorite." Vanessa cut in. Marcus, maybe that's enough shop talk. No, it's fine, he continued. My father was weak at the end, couldn't even hold a pen. Fortunately, I've always been good at signatures. He laughed loudly. That's quite a talent, I said, my heart pounding. It is. Want to see? I have Dad's old checkbook somewhere. I can show you his signature and mine. You can't tell the difference. Marcus! Vanessa hissed. That's enough! But the damage was done. Several guests had heard his boasting, including Michael, who looked horrified. After that night, Michael called me. I'll testify. What they did was wrong. What changed your mind? I asked. Seeing them in your father's house, bragging about how they cheated you. Your father was a good man. He deserves better than this. With Michael's testimony, Thomas's notes, the email evidence, and the handwriting expert's analysis, we had enough to challenge the will. But Lawrence suggested we wait. The company's in trouble, I told Lawrence after discovering more financial records. Marcus has run it into the ground. They're 3 months from bankruptcy if things continue. Perfect. Let them fall first. I quit my job as Emily, leaving a resignation letter that simply read, Ask Marcus about his father's real will. Emily. 3 weeks later, I received a text from Elena. They're freaking out about Emily. The company lost its biggest contract. The construction company was in freefall. Marcus desperately tried to secure new contracts, but his reputation was suffering. Suppliers weren't getting paid. Workers were quitting. Then came the decisive moment. Lawrence arranged a meeting with Marcus, Vanessa, and their lawyer. What's this about? Marcus demanded when he saw me there. Your father's will, Lawrence said calmly. That matter is settled. Is it? We have evidence suggesting the will was forged. We have witnesses. We also have evidence that you deliberately altered James Winter's medication, which could constitute elder abuse or worse. Marcus's face darkened. You can't prove anything. Actually, we can, but we're willing to discuss a settlement. Before you go, Lawrence continued, you should know that Sarah recently inherited a substantial sum from Richard Coleman. Richard? That old fool? Marcus scoffed. That old fool left Sarah $33 million with specific instructions regarding your father's company. The color drained from Marcus's face. What are you saying? I'm buying the company, I said, speaking for the first time. Your creditors are happy to sell your debt to me. You're 3 weeks from bankruptcy, and I'm your only way out. This is absurd, Vanessa shouted. You took everything from me, I continued calmly. Now I'm taking it back. Plus, if you don't agree to our terms, we'll present our evidence of forgery and elder abuse to the district attorney. You think you can threaten us? Marcus snarled. Who do you think you are? I'm James Winter's daughter, the one you thought you could toss aside and forget. Marcus lunged forward, but his lawyer grabbed his arm. Think about what you're doing, Marcus. If what they're saying is true, you could face serious charges. Listen to your lawyer, Lawrence advised. This can end one of 2 ways. Either you sign everything back to Sarah and walk away clean, or you go to prison. Your choice. Vanessa broke down in tears. Marcus, we have to think about this. We can't go to prison. Shut up, Marcus shouted, but the fight was leaving his eyes. The meeting ended with Marcus and Vanessa agreeing to surrender the company and house in exchange for avoiding criminal charges. 2 months later, I moved back into my childhood home. The company was rebuilt under my leadership, with Thomas returning as operations manager. Elena became my assistant, and Tessa moved into the guest house. Marcus and Vanessa divorced shortly after losing everything. He moved to another state, his reputation in tatters. She stayed in town but found herself increasingly isolated as the truth about their actions spread. I saw Vanessa at the grocery store recently. Her designer clothes were gone, replaced by discount brands. She was arguing with the cashier over a declined credit card. Need some help? I asked, approaching her checkout lane. Her eyes widened. Sarah. Looks like you're having trouble. I don't need your charity. It's not charity, just being neighborly. I handed the cashier enough cash to cover Vanessa's groceries. Why would you help me after everything? she asked, suspicious. I'm not helping you. I'm reminding you that I can afford to be generous now. I have everything. The house, the company, Dad's legacy. You have nothing. You think you've won? I know I have. And every time you see me succeeding, you'll remember what you lost through your own greed. As she walked away, shoulders slumped, Thomas joined me. Was that Vanessa? Yep. Living in that apartment complex on 3rd Street now, I hear. Karma comes around, doesn't it? I smiled. It certainly does. Later that evening, as I sat in my father's old office, now mine, I looked at his photo on the desk. We did it, Dad. Everything's back where it belongs. My phone buzzed with a message from Lawrence. Richard would be proud too. I thought about the strange twist of fate that had brought me here. Losing everything had seemed like the end, but it was just the beginning of a journey that brought justice and restored what was rightfully mine. So here's my question for you. If you discovered someone close to you had betrayed you like my brother did, would you expose them immediately? Or would you wait patiently for the perfect moment to reveal that you knew everything all along?